This is a Roland SC-55 Mark I. Now, this is not going to be an in-depth review video or a demonstration of this device. This is going to be repairing this thing because, yeah, it's had a rather challenging life. Now, that short little intro there is just about all I can get this to do because most of the buttons on here are very unreliable. Oh, there's power. And it's really hard to get this to do anything without, say, connecting it to a computer or MIDI controller. Now, this comes from the fact that the buttons inside of here have all been just pushed to death. This thing needs all new buttons, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. Well, except for these buttons. Thankfully, those work, because those are very strange buttons, and replacing those won't be easy. I'm also going to be giving it a new volume knob here. I have a replacement for that, but I don't get to put that on until the end of this. Now, I've already opened this thing up and taken a peek, and have ordered some replacement buttons, which we will be installing today, but unfortunately, that's not the end of this thing's hardships. Now, I'd shown that the front readily comes off of here, and that's because at some point, the former owner saw fit to take this thing apart and immediately lost all of the screws. They tried to hot glue it back together, which shockingly didn't work, so in the end, they replaced all of the machine screws with wood screws, and that kind of ruined it. So now a lot of the screws fit loose in here because they're not the right screws. Now, there's not a whole lot I'm going to be able to do about that. I don't currently have a die set for rethreading the holes on here, which would be a good solution, but I'm not going to be doing that this time. So I'm going to see what I can do for all of the machine bolt holes, but ooh, that's a really bad thing that's happened to this. So yeah, I'm also going to go ahead and try and clean this up as much as I can. I believe 2 of these were stacked on top of each other and then adhered or bolted together somehow. And that's why all of this damage was done, because this thing, it's just rough. Yeah. Now, I do at least know that this thing is electrically fine, because I can connect a MIDI controller device like this M-Audio Axiom 25 here and just try it out. And it works fine. But there are still things that are not working, or at least are difficult with this, like the drums. You can see that the drums are actually a different channel than the keyboard, and while these are configurable on here, drums should be channel 10 normally on MIDI, and I can't get over and change what the drums are because the part buttons are broken. Oh great, now it's different on part 4, and I can't really go back. But anyway, yeah, so for something like using this with a keyboard, it's really broken. Now, with a computer, this wouldn't be a problem because the computer is just going to change whatever instrument sounds it needs on the fly over the MIDI connection. But the keyboard, it's kind of difficult to navigate the menus and stuff, so it's easier to be able to just reach over and change the sound module itself. But let's go ahead and start working on the fix for this now. So let's go ahead and get it open and see what's going to have to be done for the buttons. Now, obviously, I have opened this up already because I needed to know what exact buttons I needed to order, and I'll go ahead and link those in the description. I ordered these from Arrow and didn't quite get the overnight shipping due to an inventory issue that they had, but I did get them for free shipping, at least. This was still, I think this is about $6 worth of buttons, probably the most expensive order I've placed with Arrow now. Buttons and connectors usually, well, switches specifically, switches and connectors usually aren't that cheap. Anything electromechanical, just because it has to be interfaced with by humans, it means it has to have a lot more reliability in different ways than electrical parts. So yeah, that was, these aren't cheap. So yeah, let's go ahead and start getting that thing open. Alright, so here's the inside of my SC-55, and I'm going to go ahead and make a controversial statement and say it's not a good idea to put hot glue on a heatsink. It's probably not going to do too well on there. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get all of this off of here because it's not going to do a thing. Okay, that's it in off of there. And I'd also like to point out how brilliant it was to put hot glue on that heatsink, because look where the top of the metal chassis is here. I don't know what exactly they thought they were putting the hot glue up against, but yeah, that's not going to do anything. So that's just the level of, you know, thought that was put into modifying this. So we got some more hot glue up here that I'll go ahead and get off as well. Now, if you're thinking that I'm going to be doing damage with the screwdriver here, do keep in mind that the former owner has gone ahead and just ruined all the plastic anyway, so me scraping a little bit on the inside to get the glue out of here is peanuts compared to what has already been done to this thing. So yeah, I'm going to do what I can to avoid damaging the exterior, but that ship sailed on this thing looking pretty. Alright, after working on it a little bit more, the top slides over a lot better now. So, yeah, I've at least made an improvement. Now, I could try and get the magic eraser out and work on this stuff here, but I think I need to go a little bit gentler on it, because if you see wear on the corner right there and some wear up here, underneath the gray on the front of this is just black plastic. It looks like it's painted all around, but you can kind of see it along the lip here where it's been cut. So the more I try and get harsh on this, the more it's just going to turn black. So that's not the look that it should have. So I want to make sure I don't go too aggressively at that. But functionally, that's a lot better. I want to save some of the cosmetic stuff for the end of this. Right now, I just want to get it to the point where I can put it back together after I fix the buttons, which let's start taking a look more at that. Now, the switches here aren't your usual 4-pin tack switches like you might be familiar with. They're actually a 2-pin tack switch with these long through-hole leads, and you can see them bent and snipped off inside of there. So this is what was installed. It's a 5mm pitch, in case you care. But these weren't the easiest thing to find, at least on Arrow. There are a bunch of them available, but this is the only part number that you could get without a ridiculous minimum order quantity. So, yeah, it was slim pickings there. I'm hoping these are going to work well. I think they will. It's a good thing that the mute and all buttons are working fine, because they are very strange switches with the LED in the middle. We'll take a look at those when we get these out. But all the other switches here, including the part switches, even though they're physically different buttons inside, the switch is exactly the same. All those and the power switch seem to be the exact same switch inside, so I will be able to replace all of those with just the one switch type. So let's go ahead and get these boards out and take a look at them. There we go, all the dead buttons. Now, I think I did a pretty good job here of finding a replacement that seems like it's going to fit in there very, very well. So I'm looking forward to getting these in there. Now, just for the sake of making a video here, I'm going to go ahead and prove that the buttons are indeed bad. Let's go ahead and adjust the focus here. And I'm going to measure the resistance on the button as I press it down. Okay, here we go. This is not easy to hold in place, but there's open, and here is closed. Hundreds of kiloohms when it even tries to make contact. So, yeah, the buttons are very clearly bad in this. Now, some of these buttons do still work, and it's not just the weird LED switch combo buttons that make up the mutant all switches. Some of these are okay. I don't think they're fine. I'm not going to go through and measure each one of these. They're too big of a pain, and it really doesn't matter, because I'm just going to replace all of them, just as a way of resetting the health of the device. It'll last a lot longer with all new switches in there. Some of these really feel bad, so the mechanisms have just failed internally over time. But that's, yeah, that's it. Let's go ahead and start getting these buttons out so we can replace them with the new buttons. And there we go. All of the buttons are replaced. These feel really good compared to the old ones, so yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be an improvement. So let's go ahead and get this reassembled now. Oh yeah, that is so much better. The buttons all just work now the way they should. Oh, that's really, really nice. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. I guess I still have the volume knob to go. The power button here is really loose. I don't remember if it was like that before, but it works, so I don't know. I'm not going to worry about it that much. But yeah, everything else here is working just fine. Way, way better than it was before. So that's definitely a successful repair. Right, well, now that the buttons are all working and I can go through and change all sorts of settings, it turned out I couldn't change shift from these knobs. I thought maybe that one would do it and that this button was just stuck, but no, it's not. But it is very definitely working. So what I can finally do, though, is try changing these. So let's go over to 10, and I can finally have something different. Yes. That one's gonna be, we're not gonna take it. But, yeah, oh, that's really nice. Well, that one's not very different. Let's see, the TR, yeah, 808, that one should be different. Yeah. That one sounds like the Tainted Love 12-inch single. But yeah, I can now finally play around with that, which is going to be really nice. So yeah, I think I should try working on putting this back together now, which is going to be a bit of a chore since I don't have the original screws. I'm going to dig around my machine screws and see what I've got that will fit better in this. Alright, after some digging, I found a couple of pretty good ones for the front. They mount flush. I don't have them super tight. I basically had to cut new threads for all of the screws I'm putting in here, because again, the ones that it came with were either wood screws or really rough sheet metal screws. These might be the original ones that this came with. I'm not sure, but it doesn't really matter. The holes are so messed up that they still don't thread through right. I really need to get a die and recut all the threads and just put new bolts in here entirely, because all the holes are really bad. But I was able to find also some black screws that fit fairly well in here. I ran this through a couple times to get the threads in there, and then I was only able to find one that would fit the front. I actually ran it through on the other side, so it's not going to fit well into that side, but that'll work. So I'm going to go ahead and put the top back on, and then we can look at the next part that I want to take care of. That's, I'm not looking forward to it. I want to at least make an attempt at getting this thing cleaned up, and yeah, just making it slightly more usable and less disgusting looking, because, oh, wow, is it just bad. So, yeah, I'm not quite sure how I want to do this. I mean, some stuff, like, what is this even? Is this epoxy? It's really hard. Yeah, this sucks. It's really, really, dirty and, unpleasant. Oh, man, I think that's wood glue? I don't know. It's a mix. I'm gonna scrape off the paint. Is that the paint peeling up there? I think it might be. And just leaving it on, like, these things. Okay, so clearly something with rubber feet was glued to the top of this, and they glued it by the rubber feet. That was brilliant. I tried soaking this in alcohol, and it didn't go away, so yeah, I don't know. But really, I want to get the bottom off, or the tape off of the bottom. I don't know, because I'm not sure, but I think this had 4 feet that were screwed in here. You can kind of see the outline there. They're gone on mine, of course. So yeah, I've got 3 rubber feet that I can put on it, so I'm gonna do that. I want to get this off first, and I think that might be a Roland sticker on there, so I'll be a little curious to see what that has. Oh man, really? It's fiber reinforced and it doesn't peel off. Great. fast forward time. It's boring sticker. Looks like it just shows you how to mount it to the rack mount plate. Nothing that exciting. Oh man, I will take the victories where I can. All the glue came up with the adhesive strip, so that's really nice. The rest of them are horrible foam strips, so that, yeah, that's just great. So, yeah, and then it's really hard to see, but there's the glue on the bottom. What on earth did they do to this poor thing? I don't know. I want to get at least the bulk of this off if I can, and then put the feet on the bottom here so it's at least somewhat flat and not gonna mess up other stuff. It's something, I guess. I don't know. This thing's had a hard life. Alright. Let me put the feet I've got on here. So I only have 3, like I said. I'm going to put them on the plastic because everything else is sticking out too much. So it's definitely not where they go, and they're really short. So, yeah. That's much better. Yeah, I don't have a bolt for that side. Should I put their horrible bolt back in? I mean, one of them wasn't too bad. Maybe I can put in that one. There's more of that epoxy or whatever. Yeah, just spins in place. Yeah, I can't get that off without ruining the paint. Really, the paint's just, it's toast. This whole case is toast. Maybe the front plastic is salvageable, but it's still pretty marred up. But it's at least good from the front. Well, except for that. Maybe I should take care of that now. Alright, so the knob's an easy enough fix because I have one that I'm reasonably happy with how it matches, so I'm just going to go with that one. The inside's not the right shape, so I'm just going to super glue it on. Let's just get that out of the way here. Alright, I'll just let that dry and it should be good. Alright, I'm calling that good enough for my SC-55 repair. I mean, I replaced the buttons, which was the biggest problem. I put a new knob on there for the headphone volume control, and I've tried to go through and clean up some of the mess on it and replace some of the screws. I know there are some people who would go to no end to try and make this thing as pretty as possible, probably sandblasting the metal, finding a color matching paint for the original, or just match it to the plastic, and try and make it look as good as it possibly could. And really, that's a lot of work for something that's... I got this for really cheap because of its physical condition, and I don't think this is ever going to be a prime example. I mean, the plastic here is really bad, so it's just not worth the time to make it really pretty, but it's fully functional. I mean, it sounds fantastic. In sounds what I'm after, so for what I want it to do, it is perfect. Now, I did, of course, buy this to use with a computer, but for the purpose of this video, I thought it would be more fun to demonstrate it with a keyboard. So that's all I'm going to do here. If you are watching my videos, you probably know what this sounds like connected to a computer, so you're not really missing anything. I am going to show it at some point. That vaporware DOS build I keep saying will happen someday, and this will be used with it, so it will happen at some point. But for now, that's pretty much everything I wanted to do with this. I hope you guys enjoyed this look at the SC-55 I have here, and if you want to support the channel, I am on Patreon, but for now, that's it. I'll see you next time.